is.
Less nervous.
Much less.
You had special feelings.
I feel like my heart is being touched by Christ. Sierra touched.
Less nervous.
We did it! Right, you lot. Well done for surviving that train wreck. That was scary until the last 2 minutes. There is so much to take away from that game. We had another scenario where a fourth quarter was almost put on the shoulders of Carson Wentz. Greg Ward Jr. steps up out of nowhere in the most heroic fashion. You've got Nigel Bradham then scoring a touchdown. 13 late points late on in the game. Just when you think that the Eagles might be in a little bit of danger, Carson Wentz, Greg Ward Jr. pull it out of the bag. Who'd have thought that of all the people, all the receivers, by all I mean 3 of them, to really invigorate some hope into this offense, Greg Ward Jr. would be the one. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I know we've got a very important Dallas game, so I want to try and keep this one a little bit less than 100 minutes so I don't break down into tears like we saw last week. But it does mean a lot that you're with us, so shout out to Tom Whitehouse, whose blood pressure after an Eagles game is through the roof by the looks of things, and so is mine after the pizza that I was scolded for on Twitter. That wasn't a good move. Move says Ward season. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about that as well. We've got Brandon Lindemuth, who I know is here every single stream. He says Jim Schwartz had no business keeping Washington in that game. I think you're absolutely right. We're going to talk about that, in just a little bit. I'm trying to look out. Hang on, I'm going to try and move my green. There you go. Look at that. Improvisation on the fly, right? We moved the green screen around. Greg needs to be on the team next year. Absolutely. I think Ward Jr., if anything, this game not only proved that he is a suitable wide receiver for the NFL, that transition from quarterback is complete after 3 long years, but that he was just as, if not more productive than what we've seen from Nelson Aguilar, which I know isn't much. We're giving Aguilar's, $9.4 million against the cap, and then you've got Ward Jr., who is literally pennies because he's a practice squad player, 61 yards, a game-winning touchdown. If you want to see it with Titanic music, it is over on the Philly Sports Network Twitter page, which you can see linked on the screen, so to be sure to go and check that one out. We will be going into Discord as well, so guys, if you are in our Discord server, there is a video channel on there. If you click into the waiting room, we can bring you onto the stream so you can voice your opinions. If you want a link to the Discord and you're not yet in it, I'll grab a link for you now and I'll put that inside the chat as well. So we're going to put that one there. There you go. Look at that. It's going to magically appear for you. If you're new to the channel, it'll be amazing if you can hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you around this channel. And let's just talk about some of the pros and cons from this game. I mean, we'll talk offense first. I think it's only right that we begin with the likes of Greg Ward Jr., with Miles Sanders. That's going to go under the radar. I mean, Greg Ward Jr. stole the show. Miles Sanders had 122 yards to his name, and I don't want to be too overly critical or too overly, I'd say, what's the other word, too high on him. For instance, I want to be trying to be as level-headed as I possibly can here. It was a good performance. I think I need to go back and see the coach's film to see, has he improved in terms of his vision and patience, or was it a product of just some great blocking and maybe just that burst? The one thing that stood out to me with Sanders this week was the sheer speed. And unlike Boston Scott, it's long speed. Like, Scott is very burst out the trenches, 0 to 60 real quick, whereas Miles Sanders will take a little bit of time to get there, but once he hits 3rd or 4th gear, there is that afterburner level where he can push on and make you pay an open field. So I do think that's going to be something to keep note of. Like, Miles Sanders in open space is a fumble, not a fumble, so I'm trying to read the chat, is a force to be reckoned with. But talking about fumbles, Taj Bass says Wentz had 3 fumbles. Yeah, that's, 2 fumbles, 3 fumbles. Either way, it's not acceptable. And this is something where I got scolded on Twitter for it earlier today. I was like, it's coachable. It shouldn't happen. And you've got one half of people that say, yeah, but, he didn't lose the fumbles. And if you look at lost fumbles compared to the actual fumbles, it doesn't really matter because he keeps the ball. And it's like, that's fine, okay? But if you play 100 hands of blackjack and you lose 98 or you win 98, whether you win or lose, you've still got a gambling addiction, probably, at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter what the result is. The safest thing to do is to not play the hand. And that's what Wentz is doing. He's just consistently, whenever he goes to the ground, trying to launch that ball away. And I've had that criticism for a long, long time now. Whether it's due to awareness or just trying to do too much with it. I'd like to think in an ideal universe that would somewhat dissipate once he's got playmakers back and he's not trying to turn every play into the ultimate iconic highlight reel, because he doesn't have to. Like, if you've got receivers that can get into position without scramble drills, you don't have to force that ball out to avoid taking a sack, but sometimes just taking the L is a bit better than trying to put yourself at risk or your team at risk. I mean, there was a play last week against the New York Giants where the ball went up in the air and they were so lucky that didn't go back the other way for a touchdown and end the game. Like, they were so lucky. And there were two situations today, it almost hurt them again. Now, I don't really mind criticising it. It's a coachable thing. To me, it's something that I think should come back on Press Taylor as the quarterback's coach. That's a direct correlation between what we can see behind the scenes and what we see here. It's been a problem since 2016 when he first came out of college. Ball security was never really his strongest asset, and it's still not now. David Maybury says, speaking of gambling addictions, imagine if you had the points on the Skins. Yeah, that would be a train wreck and a half. See, lucky I just put them in. I didn't have too much of a flutter this week. I just put a little bet on. Had the Eagles in it to cover, but I think I had the over in the Houston game, so that let me down. So no blackjack hands for me this week. What an unbelievable throw to Miles Sanders. Says 7-6 second TB. Absolutely agree. A tremendous throw by Carson Wentz. I think on the inverse of the turnovers, that's one of the best throws I've ever seen him make. And it's easy to sit here and criticise him and say, hey, do you know what? Carson Wentz was bad that game. Or Carson Wentz has got ball security issues, which he has. But how many quarterbacks are realistically going to make that throw outside of 3 or 4 guys? Because the answer's not very many. And that is one hell of a play to make. Now, was there luck involved? Should other defenders on other teams got their hands on that? Probably. But the zip that was put on it to get it past 2, to see Sanders in open space in that back corner of the end zone, absolutely incredible. So a great play by Carson Wentz. And in my opinion, it does at least make up for the very scary moments. I mean, the question you've got to ask yourself is, with Carson Wentz, a lot of people look at the fumbles like I said, and it's either, yeah, but he didn't lose them, so it doesn't matter. If every fumble Carson Wentz had this year he had lost, what would the conversation be? Right? If it was every fumble this year Carson Wentz had won, what would the conversation? And the fact that it gives 2 drastically different answers says everything. Like, the ultimate reality is you shouldn't be fumbling. Like, it's as plain and simple, as black and white as that. There shouldn't be this, yeah, but if this, then that. This isn't a game of if this, then that. This is a consistent error that is haunting Wentz on a week-by-week basis. And as a result, is eventually going to haunt this team. God forbid they come up against the 49ers and you've got Nick Bosa, screaming down your throat. That is going to be a problem. So there's a few different ways of looking at it. But right now, it's not the problem that it once was. So we can all take a breather for a minute and just soak up this win. And what a great occasion it was. There's no questioning, as Tom says, his arm talent. There's no questioning his drive, his passion. I think his leadership now is unquestionable. His eyes, his vision. It's just the mechanics inside the pocket and the footwork and the awareness that it's ultimately been his downfall. And I say that not in a critical way, just in an observational way. Smoke Martini says Wentz isn't a pocket QB, he's a scrambling QB. Yeah, and I think that's why we're seeing more kind of design rollouts, design sprint outs, play action looks and that sort of thing. Now, again, guys, if you do want to come down into the Discord server, if you want to come on the show, have your opinions heard, all you've got to do, log into the Discord. If you're not on it already, I'll put another link in the chat for you. There's a channel called Waiting Room. If you go in there, we can drag you in and we can have a little bit of a talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Jordy Fighter 141 says Miles had a 100-yard game and it's his only one of this and last year. Yeah, I think so. He had 122 yards on the ground, which I think is just going to go massively under the radar, unfortunately. It's a shame because he shouldn't. Like, that was a really good performance by Miles Sanders, and it's because of Greg Ward, because of Carson Wentz, because of Dallas Goedert's catch. Like, he's not going to get the credit he deserves for that. It was a good performance by Miles Sanders. It really was. Must Shine says Big V did more looking than he did blocking. Yeah, okay, fair. But, I mean, again, it's weird with offensive line. Like, I don't want to criticise too much until I've gone back and watched the All-22. Because there was that play last week with Vaitai where if he hadn't made that key block, the Miles Sanders run that set up that touchdown against the Giants just wouldn't have happened. So, like, we all know Vaitai isn't a starting NFL tackle, but it's a serviceable backup that now has 18 starts to his name with a load of them at right tackle. He did what you could. You know what I mean? I mean, let's bear in mind, okay, who can remember Halapoulivaati Vaitai's debut? Right, we're going to play some classroom action here. Who can remember who that was against? Keep your hands up. And who can remember who terrorised him for about 72 sacks and 48,000 quarterback hits? Because that man was Ryan Kerrigan, and he lined up against that today. Now, I'm going to take a stab here and say that Ryan Kerrigan didn't get a sack. Now, I'm going to go back and look at the box score, so before anyone shouts at me, I don't have it on my screen. I'm not that prepared, unfortunately. I was a little bit in a hurry. But from what I saw, Ryan Kerrigan had a lot less of an impact than what he's had in every other time he's played against Halapoulivaati Vaitai, which kind of says a lot. That's development for him. Kerrigan came into this game with 5.5 sacks on the season. Was I wrong or right in this? Where is Kerrigan on here? The answer is, lads, he not there. He's not, he didn't register a tackle. Now, whether he played or not, I don't know. I mean, I assume he did, but maybe someone can fill me in. Maybe I missed something there. But either way, there you go. See, so there's a nice little... Oh, he's on IR. That would be why. Thanks, Moves. That would be why. Okay. Either way, he looked okay. So I thought I couldn't see him in the game. Either way, Vaitai was serviceable. It was okay. It wasn't the end of the world. He did his job. And that's all you can ask for, really. I mean, it could be a lot worse. If you look at, I don't know, let's say Nate Solder situation right now with wherever he plays, it's just tragic. Duck Nguyen says the defense is still suspect. Yeah, absolutely agree. That's a fair assessment. Thank you for the 10 likes on this video, guys. That's a really, really kind gesture of you. If you're not subscribed to us yet, it would be amazing if you could. I've just realised today marks the 20th day of an upload on this channel in a row. Like, we're trying so hard to get an upload almost every day between now and Christmas. Now, on top of running the site and everything, it might be a little bit sketchy. We might have a few days without, but I promise you, like I said last week, if you guys give me everything, I'll give it right back to you. So if you support this channel, if you enjoy what we do and you vocalise that, I'll give you 110% back, and that is an absolute promise. Stephen Bevan, who's one of our writers, says, don't listen to this dude. His opinion is invalid. The man puts garlic mayo on pizza. Like, hey, nothing is wrong with garlic mayonnaise on pizza. It is a great combination. Trace Williams says, what's up, Liam? Why do you think the coaching staff took so long to give Greg Ward some snaps? I wish I had an answer for you. I really wish I do. If it was me in the coaching staff's shoes, I think it would have happened a few weeks ago. Like, the second where you're having to bring back Jordan Matthews, I don't know why you wouldn't look down there first. Like, I know the trade deadline was in the window. The most you can do is bring in someone with experience who knows the playbook and the scheme and everything. And while Jordan Matthews did that, he hadn't played a competitive snap in like a year. At least Greg Ward had played preseason with the team, who's gone on scout team with the Eagles, who knows what they're doing. Like, you would have liked to think it would have been the logical choice. Somehow it wasn't. That's not my call to make. All we can do is criticise in hindsight, but it's nice to see him make the most of it now that he's back. Now, we do have someone in the waiting room. That man is Brandon Lindemer, someone that I know has had fire takes for, I'd say, the last 3 weeks he's been on. So we're going to bring him in now. Brandon, how are you doing? Oh, it's a microphone there. See, I'm trying this whole radio thing. It's a struggle, this whole radio host stuff. Garlic mayo on pizza, yeah, English cuisine is still suspect. Hey, I don't think it's an English thing. I just think it's more of a Liam thing, to be honest with you, Duck. Brandon, are you there?
Yes, sir.
There we go. So just as I'm about to get scolded for my pizza take, Brandon can scold the Eagles instead. How are you feeling after the win?
It was a great win, honestly. I think there's a lot of points that we can, sort out here. Just, to really see. I mean, first off, something's got to be figured out with this defense. I mean, like I said when I first entered the chat, Jim Schwartz and the scheme he's running, he had no business keeping a rookie quarterback like Dwayne Haskins in this game, to where when he's under center, he's dead last in 3 categories. And for those that were watching the game on Fox, I mean, they were easy to point out. I think he was last in third down conversions, points per game, total yards per game. So, you're coming in back-to-back games, not going to the Giants game, but you're going in back-to-back games against the Dolphins and now the Washington Redskins, who, these two teams are at the bottom of the barrel, and you still can't seem to find a consistent answer to where, both ends of the football, offensively and defensively, can play in an equal tandem together. I mean, it was a little bit ridiculous to see that today.
Yeah, I think for me, the one thing, if we even go back past the Miami game, which is, you've got Ryan Fitzpatrick laying up 100. I mean, let's put it this way. As far as I'm aware, you've had Darius Slayton at 150 yards. We obviously had Terry McLaurin put up another 137. Devontae Parker had 150. Like, the Eagles' defense, in terms of an individual receiver having like a breakout, is too bad now. Like, the secondary is just falling apart. But you can kind of make an argument one week, oh, it was this or it was that. The next week, oh, it was this or that. But seeing that pattern now 3 weeks in a row against teams that realistically shouldn't be punishing them, you're right. Like, I mean, Dwayne Haskins has an awful touchdown to turnover ratio. The offense is awful. We've seen the Giants' offense was dreadful with a statue at quarterback. The defense should be lapping this up. There's no reason why it shouldn't be dominating. The fact that it continues to fall apart on the back end is really, really worrying. So I think you're right. The fact we've seen this now over, I want to say, the best part of a month. God forbid they go up and face a Jimmy Garoppolo or, dare I say, another Russell Wilson in the playoffs, because it really would be... I just think they get ripped to shreds at this point in defense, and then it would have to be Carson Wentz driving the offense down the field.
But, I mean, I can also point to the only thing that Dwayne Haskins has going for him right now is that he has a consistent group of a receiving core out there. Carson Wentz hasn't had it all season due to injuries. There was the questioning of his lack of leadership and this and that, and we can go back to the Alshon Jeffrey thing as much as we want. But I think they pointed out clearly that there's no issues between the two, and it was just a bunch of riffraff thrown up by the media. But like I said, I mean, Dwayne and the receiving core, he's had them for quite a while, and one thing they're starting to do is that they're starting to build a connection. And I mean, it was easy to see. We go back to week one. A lot of Redskins fans, they refer to McLaurin as Scary Terry.
Yeah.
We seen the same thing. We seen the same thing week one where he lit us up. I think he had over 100 yards in that game too, or close to it. So I mean, you can go back to where the secondary issues are still lingering from that time. I mean, remember, they had us down 17-0 going into halftime, but we ended up scoring 32 unanswered. So this score was a little close to the week one game where we faced Washington and Philly. But, once again, I got to hand it to Carson. He showed his wit. He showed the truth, that tough grit that he comes in game after game, just to put together a pair of clutch drives like that. This is the Carson that we needed to see from the MVP campaign, and he's taking care of business. He's just doing what he needs to do in the pocket. The fumbles are I don't want to go to major, but I think I have to make it a major concern, because if you combine his interceptions with the fumbles, and let's just say he lost every fumble, he's at a touchdown to turnover ratio of, I believe, 27 to 18. Yeah. That's a little alarming to me. But the good thing about it is, because he's at 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions right now after the Washington game, it is good to see him taking care of the football on his passes. We're not seeing a lot of those just bad interceptions that he throws. The last bad interception I can remember was the Dallas game, where he threw it right to I think it was this year. He threw it right to a linebacker. I don't think it was Van Der Esch, because he did the same thing last season in 2018. But I am impressed with him taking care of the football in that matter. But whether we can put this on a breakdown in protection of offensive line, the play they're running, or just bad ball protection from Carson himself, something's got to be figured out. Because there was some plays in this game where he could have easily ran for the first down, and I still think those demons are in the back of his head, that he's still in the battle with, am I okay to run, or should I sit back and try and look for somebody open? They're still there. But I think as this season continues to progress, depending how far they go in the playoffs and then going into next season, I think he's going to get back in that mold again where he's going to be comfortable to do everything that he was used to doing in his MVP season. So I'm not too alarmed about it right now, but if something doesn't change soon, it might become a bigger issue than we think.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, and I think that, like I said it on Twitter earlier today, that it's 1,000% coachable, and it's on the quarterback coach. And we remember in 2017 where even before the season, Wentz went out and sought coaching help from, I think it was the same school that helped Tom Brady and numerous other quarterbacks, and his footwork came back looking so much better. Now, since DeFilippo's gone and you've now got Press Taylor in there, it seems that for a variety of reasons that those old habits have come back out, and I can't tell. Honestly, even if it's something as simple as, we all know how to breathe, it's something we instinctively do. If someone says, oh, you should breathe shorter breaths for longer or something, and you start thinking about it, it becomes so much harder because you're consciously having to think about it. And at the end of the day, Wentz and that killer instinct has always been there. And if someone's trying to take that away from him or make him see it a bit differently, he's having to second guess every decision that he now makes, you can see why he's leaving a bit of meat on the table or why he's finding himself in those sticky situations, because they're trying to mould that and it's going so against the grain of what he's used to. And you'd like to think in the long run it will benefit him, but right now, it's every week. And I said it earlier in the show, I've said it again on Twitter and stuff like that, but people are in two camps. It's either, but he's not lost a fumble, so it doesn't matter. But it could have very easily been he lost the one against New York, was picked up for a touchdown. It could have very easily been he lost one today in the second half. Redskins then pick it up in Eagles territory, and that could have easily been a win for Washington, given momentum. And then what are you going to do? Then it's a very different conversation, and Wentz becomes this scapegoat again. So the bottom line is he shouldn't be fumbling anywhere near as much as he is, and it is becoming a slightly alarming team, given that he's getting away with it because either his teammates are bailing him out massively, like Arcega-Whiteside made a hell of an effort to recover one. And against better teams, you don't know if that's going to stand. Or teams in the playoffs where everyone's got that same energy, you don't know if that's going to be the same. So sooner or later, it's going to come back to bite him. And there was the actual fumble in the second half where the writing was on the wall all game long, that if Washington kept getting pressure to him, eventually he'd cough the ball up because he'd been doing it all game anyway. It was only a matter of time before it eventually come out of his hands and bobbled around a bit. So hopefully it improves. But yeah, it is definitely something to be aware of moving forward.
I mean, there's a lot of and then you can look at better defensive teams and you can say, well, with those fumbles, I mean, they're gonna turn into gimmies where they're just gonna they're not gonna second guess and he's gonna have to deal with that kind of turnover and And I agree with him. I agree with him getting frustrated. I mean, that either something like that when you're trying to be Superman, and a lot of us were talking about this in the Discord. When you try to be Superman, it could go one of two ways. It could either it could either benefit you or I had two B words that set it up really good. But it could either benefit or backfire. That's what it was. Yeah. And there's a lot of things. There's a lot of variables that go into this. The lack of receiver help, just his mechanics with trying to go for the big play, instead of taking the checkdowns. But I did see a lot of checkdowns today. I did see him throwing the ball away. So they're there, but everything is there that he knows he needs to do. It's just developing that consistency. But before I get carried too on with Carson, because we know how well he did today, I think that throw to Miles Sanders is one of the best plays of the year in the NFL, honestly. I mean, threading the needle the way he did, that was literally a rocket. That's very difficult to do. And we've seen Aaron Rodgers do that. I forget what team they were playing, but Aaron Rodgers ended up hitting one of his running backs or receivers in that kind of point in the end zone. But I got to give a shout out to Greg Ward. Once again, he stepped up. He looked unbelievable. That fade to the back of the end zone, that was a perfectly executed play between Carson and Greg. That was great to see. Miles Sanders now has the franchise record for the most rushing yards in a season by a rookie. He passed his idol in LaShawn McCoy. That's special to him. his numbers were unbelievable today. That breakaway, I think 70-some yard run was just fantastic.
Yeah.
There was a collection of plays that, that made it there was a lot of bright moments for us to see these as Eagles fans that I think it's, it was this case in the beginning of the season, towards the beginning of the season, but now I think it's safe to say that we think Miles Sanders is the future at the running back position, and it's a great one to witness right now.
Yeah, I think definitely, and I think it's been a long time coming. Like, the nice thing with Miles Sanders, and not in a horrible way, is you can see a clear hole in his game, which is the patience and the vision behind the line of scrimmage. But if that's the only thing, and it's that clear, it's like the second he gets that tidied up, you know where the ceiling is, because everything else, he's got the boxes ticked. And when those other boxes are kind of thriving and he's in a position where he's not reliant on having to choose what hole to run through, or he's just in open space and he can let the rest of his game do the talking, he's an incredible talent. And I think we've seen 2 back-to-back weeks where he's really put on a good account of himself. And I would love to go back and look at the week 1 tape, the week 2 tape. Well, they were barely used in week 1 and 2, but maybe like the week 3, week 4, and then just see where he is now and like how much has changed, because you can see the maturity in his game. And I think Juice Staley's going to deserve a lot of credit for that as well, because we are seeing a much improved Miles Sanders and someone that is now able to be a force. And let's be honest, when Jordan Howard went down, and we all know it was a stinger and he should have been back 1 week, but every game they've not had Jordan Howard, no one's expected to see at least Miles Sanders become a bell cow back, take that many carries, like 15 plus carries a game, and put up that kind of performance. So that's really encouraging for their long-term plan, that they may not have to invest in a Jordan Howard or a downhill back, and it's at least, or is it a heavy investment as they're originally thinking, because Sanders is already, I would say, ahead of schedule in kind of growing into that role now.
I mean, you could even go the route and say that they could already have their committee solidified in Miles and Boston Scott, and then just work the cap to other positions that needed more, a la wide receiver. And, but I think that's going to be the biggest thing in the off season. But a lot of these practice squad guys are making good cases to stay on this roster, and even to get promoted to the active roster. I believe Greg Ward deserves that promotion. I'm not sure why they didn't activate Mark and Michelle today. They might be preserving him for the playoff push. Granted that they are low at the wide receiver position. Robert Davis, I didn't see him featured much today. He didn't have a catch. I did notice that he had a couple of snaps here and there. He was doing some excellent blocking up the field for situations with running the football, but I would have thought that he would have been featured. You got a guy that's Alshon Jeffrey size. He weighs a little less, so he can run a faster 40. But he was going into this game, he was supposed to be one of those red zone touchdown targets. But I just didn't seem to. I didn't see enough of him. But that could always change in the Dallas game. But who knows going forward? One thing I also did notice is that. Despite how really good the Eagles offense today looked good. Yeah. I think they only punted the ball 2 or 3 times, which is
it's not good for Cameron Johnston's MVP campaign. I'm telling you that. I'm not happy with that.
Yeah, it's not an often thing that we've seen this season to where the Eagles aren't punting the ball much, but Washington's defense isn't necessarily scary, so you can make the case that we should have walked all over them like we did Miami. But I'm still a little concerned with the run to pass ratio, because Carson did throw almost 50 times again today. He had 43 attempts. Granted, there was balances when there needed to be, but like we're arguing with Carson's scrambling issues, that he just needs to take that action and just go for the first down. They pointed it out on the Miles Sanders touchdown. He almost had a clear-cut path for the end zone. There might have been a linebacker there, so could have got first and goal, but he'll eventually work these demons out to where he can run the football again. But with those mechanics, and we can also go back to the fact that he's coming in and out of injuries, so he doesn't have that full-time schedule of working with the quarterbacks coach. Filippo goes out. We got Press Taylor back in, and then him and Nick Foles are switching out due to injury. So, but I think we have moving on from today's game, I think we have more to look forward to than less. But the biggest issue I have going forward is the defense, because it was atrocious.
Yeah, and I love how
atrocious.
I was going to say, I love how there's this whole conversation about the promise on offense and how much there is to look forward to, despite the errors shown. And then defense is like, it's just atrocious. Like, there's nothing more that needs to be said to go into the reasons why it's atrocious, because that is what it is. And I think that the more performances we're seeing like that from the defense, the closer we are getting to maybe a change in defensive coordinator, maybe a change of philosophy, maybe a change of personnel, who knows. But I think that this definitely can't carry on. And if Carson Wentz can will this offense 20, 30 points a game consistently as he's doing, then sooner or later then that spotlight's going to switch straight back onto Jim Schwartz. And there's going to be some questions of, all right, well, what's going on here then? Like, you can't keep chaining us back like that. So, Brandon, it's been great having you on the show. I know we've got one more person waiting. I'm going to have a quick chat with the guys in the YouTube chat as well. So, thank you again for some more very, very eloquent takes, as I always say, that you put out. So, how can people get in touch with you and connect with you if they like what they're hearing?
Hey, like I said, I'm always on the Discord, Lindy2315. I'm on there, and then just follow me up on Twitter. I don't post much on there. I do a lot more takes and discussions on the Discord, but I'll be sure to be back and forth as best as I can.
Beautiful stuff. Right, thank you again, Brandon. It's been a pleasure having you on, and I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
Likewise, Liam. It was awesome. Have a good one, man.
You too, bro. There we go. I always feel so weird saying bro being white in English. It doesn't go down. Before we move on, though, a big shout to Chris Tiller, who I missed his message, but he basically put in all capitals, he can finally watch the stream today. So, Chris, if you're watching this stream, man, thank you for tuning in. It's really cool to have you on board. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. I know we've had a little bit of conversation. There's been some stuff on Wentz. There's been some stuff on Arcega-Whiteside. I'm sure we'll get to all that in a minute. And we do have our resident Jay Fizzle Dizzle. He's in the waiting room, so we'll be able to talk to him in a little bit as well. Duck says, so Schwartz need to go too. Is that what you're... I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, okay, if you go through the narrative of the season where you've had the offense looking bad, then the defense looking bad, and the other one, and it's sort of been like that. Like, there's never been either both bad or both good. There's always one outweighing the other. I think that, for me, like, if you go to a playoff run, okay, if you go from, let's say the Miami game to now, where it has been, like I said, 150 yards to Slayton. We've seen 137 to McLaurin. There was 150 to Devontae Parker. That's not good. Like, if you imagine Tyler Lockett and the Seahawks, you're going to face that in the playoffs with this defense. It's that sort of thing where I think, hey, if we are going to have a conversation about Schwartz or any kind of defensive change, it's going to come sooner rather than later. It's cool to see Chris is still here. I'm glad you stuck around, man. I wanted to make sure that you heard your shout out, because I love people when they get excited about, being in this stream. I promise I'll try not to cry again. Jay Wade says, Scott and Goddard have the ability to take a pass to the house. It scares me whenever they fight in for extra yards, they fumble. I think Boston Scott's a bit different, because Darren Sproles has the same thing. It's just he's a little bit smaller and, that sort of thing, I think. Goddard, though, the catch he made today, after a season where he's had drops and he's really struggled with that, massive fair play to him. Like, that's a huge thing to overcome. It was a one-handed grab, could have easily been another drop, but the mentality to not let that happen and to fight through that and grab hold of it, fair play. Like, very impressed with that. Mao says, do I think they should have taken more chances deep to Robert Davis? Yeah, but the thing is, we don't know if they were running deep routes, and this has been the thing as of late where we genuinely don't know. Until you see the All-22, all we see is like slants and crossing patterns and curls and comebacks. Like, it's very rare to actually send receivers deep. And when they do, it's always seems to be an Arcega-Whiteside, or it was Alshon Jeffrey until recently. So we don't know that they've been sending, right, Robert Davis, go route 8 times. you'd like to think in one of them he would be targeted. I just don't think they're scheming that, if I'm honest. And the Redskins are going to be aware of it. They're probably just going to try and focus on the intermediate aspects of the field. And if they're running a lot of zone coverage to counter that, you're going to have a guy underneath and a safety over the top. It leaves a bit of a tough window to put trust in a receiver you're only throwing to in a game for the first time, which I think is a very fair thing. The Eagles just played it conservative. They wanted to run a lot underneath and try and burn the Redskins with speed, and it worked. Just using their physical tight ends, and more importantly, Miles Sanders and obviously Greg Ward Jr., who we know is agile from all the preseason tape we've had on him. If you've been around, he had some great breakdowns on that. I say great, I didn't mean my breakdowns, just meant, we had a breakdown that I did, and hopefully you thought it was great. Smoke Martini says, you scheme up plays so Olshon goes up for 50-50 balls. Yeah, and I think Arcega-Whiteside, that's going to come naturally, in time. That doesn't happen overnight, and especially in this situation where you've only got 3 active wide receivers, you do just want to make sure that the ball gets spread around a lot. I've just realised that we've actually got 23 likes, so thank you so much, guys, if you have hit the like button on this stream. If you could, that's a loud email. It's a really nice way to, all it does is one click. You don't have to subscribe or anything, it's just a way to support the stream. If you enjoy this content and you are new around this channel, again, we're trying to get daily Eagles content from now until Christmas. This is day 20 now, I think. I think it's day 20 on top of all the content at phillysportsnetwork.com that we're doing. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. And if you've just tuned into the channel, hopefully it becomes your nice new home for Eagles content. We're going to bring in Jay Fizzle Dizzle in just a second. Yoda Black, what's up, man? I hope you enjoyed the win today. Is that a Rasul Douglas jersey I see in your picture? See, I always knew I liked you. Jordy Fighter says, yeah, he can't. Yeah, true to move on from him. Jeffrey's been playing injured for too long. Yeah, even dating back to 2017, you can make that argument when he played through the shoulder injury. So it's been whether he hasn't been 100% for a few years or I don't know. Either way, it's just, I think for me personally, having seen the way that Jalen Mills recovered through the Liz Frank injury last year, he missed the opening half of this season. We don't know that the same won't apply for Alshon Jeffrey. There's a good chance it will. So it's something to be aware of, I think. And it wouldn't surprise me if that this is the end of it. This season could technically be the last time we see Olshon in an Eagles jersey. He may still be on the team. He's got his salary guaranteed next year. He's just got to stick around. And then in the meantime, they've got Arcega-Whiteside, and they'll just try and rebuild that receiving corps. The main thing, realistically, is to get some help in terms of depth. You want guys who can be the speedster behind Djax when he goes down, the slot receiver. I think Greg Ward Jr.'s role will be that kind of backup slot receiver moving forward. King JJ Arcega-Whiteside, who's definitely not JJ Arcega-Whiteside, says Victory Monday on the way! Like Sendejo, I'm assuming. That's definitely what he did. Tom says good hands, dropped third down conversion be the Bears. Yoda says I love Rasul Douglas. And I love you, Yoda Black. I love you. Let's bring in Jay Fizzle Dizzle. Now the question is, right, am I going to bring him in mid-conversation here? This happens every time, right? We're 4 for 4 since trying this. So if I bring him down and he's mid-convo, we'll see what happens. All right, 3, 2, 1. We're going to give it a go. Oh. Did it work? Have I done it again?
Oh my goodness, let's go.
Has it happened again? I knew it.
Me and Lindy was in here just talking about how we can't tackle running backs.
See, I've just realised, I always feel really bad for the people I drag you away from. They're having a lovely civilised conversation, you're talking, and then you're just ripped away from them. And now Lindy's gone from the waiting room, and now I'm an awful person. Awful person.
It's fine, man. It's fine. We were just in here chopping it up. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good. How are you feeling after the win?
I don't know. Obviously happy. I'm excited. But
hang on. But before you go any further, is this happy and excited like last week? Because you weren't happy or excited last week.
I can't. Well, let's say yes, and then maybe I don't even know. I don't have any answers. I just don't understand how our defense can't get on the same page. We've played great for 2-3 weeks. Literally, they carried the team. And then all of a sudden, we're in these must-win situations, completely inferior teams. Carson will handle it, and he's been handling it. It's cool because we've been winning, but this has to stop. Everyone's healthy except for Derek. There's no answer for this. Why are we playing so bad?
No,
when we were talking, go ahead.
I think even like last year, you can look at, the secondary was completely burned out and they were down to Cravon LeBlanc, who, as good as Captain Cravon is, was off, a late signing, like just kind of fumbled together and brought to them late in the season. This year, like, you've got and this is what I was saying, like, towards the trade deadline, when everyone was, we should go for this guy or that guy. Like, it's too late because going into this season, you knew all of training camp, all of OTAs, that Darby and Mills would not be ready for week 1. If you had a problem with Ronald Darby and Jalen Mills as your starters, you should have broached it there and then. Not let them play a half season and go, nah, they're the problem. They're not good enough. Like, if you knew they weren't good enough, which we all knew they weren't, then you should have done something about it then. So I don't know at this point. I've had the argument all year of whether it's scheme versus talent. Is it a bit of column A, column B? So I'm now verging a lot more towards the talent because we saw the thing with Avonte Maddox today coming down, out of position. They've got a slot corner playing safety. And as versatile as he is, like, he just didn't get that deep responsibility. Like, the Eagles are trying to, adapt and disguise coverages. And then Maddox just, I don't think, drops deep enough, tries to square up, misses the tackle.
Goes for a touchdown.
Yeah, and that's a play that a safety would make. But at the end of the day, he's a versatile, smaller slot corner. He's not a safety out and out.
Oh, I agree 110. I think what our issue is right now is as far as like, because these are the same corners we had when we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it's not that they were A1 corners the whole time, but they were serviceable and did what we needed to do. What really got us there was our D-line was so just imposing their will, and it's not up to that level completely yet. Again, with Derek out, and then also that Malik not playing, and then also just having the guys that we've had come in and like just not really being solid. Again, Timmy's not. I think Fletch isn't really eating as much this game, and I think last game he had a couple of good plays, but he's just not back all the way up to being Fletch. It's just I don't know. It's a lot of things that are going right. I don't have any answers. I'm just confused because for 2 weeks we played better teams, top to bottom better teams, and they did everything they possibly could, and we needed the offense to make the play. Yeah. And then we come down to today, and Carson with no wide receiver. Well, no, because Greg showed up and showed out today. But good God, if we could just have somebody to stretch the field, that would even help 1,010%. Because we really honestly should have blew them out. Even getting down the goal line and only us getting a field goal was really frustrating. Man.
I don't know.
I'm happy again.
So I can just imagine, like, you being on like an anniversary, it's a 5-year anniversary dinner, and you're sat there and everything's you're like, the food's cold, the drink's too warm, they're playing loud music, which I hate. I hate that. Turn it off. But no, I completely agree. Genuinely, like, it's again, nothing you've said is like invalid or has been like, whoa, okay, hang on a minute. It's perfectly right, and I think that the Eagles continue to win these games, but they don't help themselves, and they just shoot themselves in the foot over and over and over again every week, whether it's penalties, like we're just seeing, as of late, has been absolutely dismal.
Obligatory Jason Peters false start penalty.
There's one a week.
We have a streak. How long is the streak? Is it 7 weeks now? It's ridiculous.
I was going to say, I can vividly remember the last 4. Like, it's probably been longer than that, though, because it's just what vintage JP does, isn't it? Like, I genuinely don't get it, but it's tiny little things across the board, but it's baffling to me that the defense looked so good against the Bears, against the Bills, and arguably against the Patriots and Seahawks. Like, let's not forget, it was the offense.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like, realistically.
Two completely better teams with better quarterbacks, and I wouldn't say better receiving corps, but definitely veteran receiving corps. And we showed up and showed out. I mean, granted, the Seahawks game, they dropped DK Metcalf could have had 8 that day. We dropped two major ones, but he didn't come up with them. And the game was literally within 7. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
But I just think
rookie wide receivers come in and eat us up, and that was just a misplay. But even going back to the week before,
Darius Slayton had it, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, Darius Slayton going off and everything like that. Just going off of just genuinely outrunning people. It was, I don't understand. Like, how is it this bad? And we can't be like this, especially next week with Dallas, with it basically being a must-win game for our season to continue. And I know Amari Cooper is going to be coming. Like, he hasn't been all the way up to snuff, but he's definitely going to be trying to eat that game.
Yeah.
And Dak's going to be looking for it and everything like that. That's another thing we were talking about before I came in here is, for whatever reason, once we deal with kind of bigger backs who can make a little bit of shiftiness, we don't know how to tackle all of a sudden. And that was another situation that was setting us up for the okie doke. Was they were, especially at the start of the game, they were going ahead and giving Dwayne quick passes out to like real quick drops, get the ball out of his hands, and keep going put him in short yardage situations, and then let Adrian Peterson just go ahead and be Adrian Peterson. It's ridiculous. We can't stop AP. Well, he's AP. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer.
I mean, he's 50 years old, though. There should be some sort of... It's just, I don't get it.
One of the best run defenses in the league. We can't stop an old man with one good knee. He's just jump cutting all over the place. What? Come on, man.
No,
it's just...
I don't get it. I really don't. And I think that the frustrating thing is that normally it would take a look at the tape and say, all right, well, this bit didn't work and this play was dead. And it's like an individual thing. But when the pattern is that clear of every receiver for the last 3 weeks having at least 130 yards and a touchdown, it's not good enough. There is something clinically wrong. And then we had trick plays. The Redskins, ultimately didn't do that today. They tried to get a little bit of Ohio State. I don't even think it was Ohio State trickery. They really liked Ohio State, that broadcast, and I don't know why. But I think.
Well, Urban Meyer was there, and
but it was. I've never learned so much about Ohio State in my life. Honestly, it was like a documentary.
The next coach he might not be the next coach for the Redskins. It's just something to keep in the back of our head.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a show for Ohio State today. It was the Ohio State show.
Literally, but then you've got the trick plays as of recently. You've got wide receivers going off. I don't know at this point because there are so many things that then Schwartz will do a little bit well. Like that game where you had Nigel Bradham shadow as a blitzer and drop back into that was I loved that. Not even joking, it got me a little bit flustered watching that tape back. It was excellent. And then you go from that to the last couple of weeks, and it's mind-boggling, and it hurts, and you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on with each play, and there's no answer. And at some point, there has to be some accountability. And I don't know how much of an impact Matt Burke has, but that could be one of the worst decisions of the entire offseason, was bringing Jim Schwartz, a defensive assistant, who runs his own scheme and ruined it in Miami the year before. So maybe that's playing a role in these decisions. I don't know, but something needs looking at. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, coaching top to bottom this year has been suspect. Top to bottom has been suspect. One thing I will say that has been getting a lot better is Carson with the play calling. I don't know if it's finally gelling with the talent, or again, people finally going, hey, we should probably start using plays that really work with the players that we have. Bunch of screens, running the ball more.
Yeah.
Oh my good! Thank God for Miles Sanders. Thank God for Howie for drafting him. This man is going to be great for us. He can catch. He can run. He got speed. Thank God for him, because it really, honestly, without him, we'd really be in a world of hurt. Him and Boston Scott.
I was going to say, don't leave my little man out of this.
Never. Boston has earned a place in my heart also. He got the juice. Because honestly, they're using him a lot like Darren Sproles.
Yeah.
So go ahead, go off the gut, sprint out, go ahead and do that. It reminds me back of, what was it? I think it was Chip Kelly's first or second year where we couldn't get anything going. Players were just playing sloppy. And literally our running backs where Darren Sproles himself was literally keeping us in games against the Colts and everything like that. And that's pretty much what we're doing now. And I'm so happy that we're finally at least doing that, going, hey, let's run the ball more. Still, Carson shouldn't be throwing the ball 50 times a game or however many times he threw it today. It was ridiculous within that. But again, a lot of those were screens that went on. There's that. But
context is key, but at the end of the day, if you add one and one together, with the first one being there are no wide receivers and the second one being you've got productive running backs, the answer shouldn't be 3 throw it 50 times. It just shouldn't. So regardless of whether it's screens or not, it's an excessive workload to put on a quarterback. And I think, put it this way, if they ran it a bit more, which was working, you wouldn't have half the weight of a quarterback who might cough up the ball every 5 or 6 plays, because he's not going to have the ball in his hands to do it. So I know that's a really bizarre view to have, but if you've got that weight off him when he does drop back and there is more time because you can set up the play action and the rollouts, the risk becomes that much less. And I don't know, there was that one drive in the second quarter where the Eagles were down, I want to say they were down 4 and they had 44 rushing yards at the time. And they passed it all 3 plays. And I was just like, why? Like, what are you gaining from that? And it was a 3 and out, and they passed all 3 times.
It's the Andy Reid type thing, man. And it's just, Doug always really Doug made me happy in 2017 when he was just like, look, all right, fine. We'll go ahead and we'll play through the run and we'll let this happen and let it develop and everything like that. And we'll just keep going with it. Because we had 3 different running backs who were all eating at one point. So it was cool. Yeah. But, I mean, we're getting production. We have a decent O-line. Like, just let it ride, man. Like, we don't, for what? What are you trying to prove? And it's just the Andy Reid syndrome. I can't deal with it, man. Just stop doing it. Just let us run. We'll be fine. Well, like today proved it. Last week proved it. Like, we'll be okay. But it just, again, these last 2 wins, and they're division games, and I get they play us a lot tougher and everything like that. But these last 2 wins, like, I'm inspired because we're going to go to the playoffs. Well, barring next week.
That's not touch wood, knock on wood, whatever it is, quickly. Just
we have a good chance of going to the playoffs and everything. And the one thing that I've been criticizing all year long was production out of our offensive weapons and people not being put in the right positions. And finally, that is going our way. But once that finally starts to hit, now the defense can't get it together and just play a solid, consistent game from top to bottom, man. Just from beginning to end, just go ahead and go, all right, cool. We won't give up any like major big plays or anything like that. We can't tackle in certain situations for whatever reason. It's just, what is going on? Like, and I have to take it and like, okay, well, we'll try again next week because we won. But like, man, this is like, we're bad. Like, and I can't really feel that way because we won, but we're just, man, we're not all the way there yet, and it's coming down to the wire. So I don't know what is going to get us there. No, there's really a lot of bright spots, but man,
the worrying part, I think, as well, is we all know that they're going to play someone good in the wild card round, and it will be the best performance we've ever seen, and you'll be like,
listen, that's what's terrifying me. That is literally what is stressing me out right now. Is because we're either gonna play out of our minds and then go ahead. Like, again, we'll end up getting either San Francisco or Seattle, which however way that falls.
Yeah.
We almost beat Seattle. We almost beat Seattle with completely no weapons, and now we have a better offense, a better play calling offense, using people to how they should be used. And that was literally all we needed. We literally needed just a couple of plays here and there. We could have took Seattle out. So we'll go ahead and get the first one, or we'll at least get out the first round, maybe, possibly, depending on what goes down. And that's it's just, we can be good. And I want to believe that we can run the table. It's just, there's stuff like this, like, we are who we are. It hasn't changed from week to week. It hasn't been. It's just, we're this. This is what we are. And this, I know for a fact this isn't good enough for us to go, especially to have to go into a New Orleans, or maybe, depending on how it falls, over into Seattle or into wherever the 49ers play, because it's not Candlestick. Levi Stadium, I think. Mm-hmm. So, whatever. We gotta go in their house, and we gotta go and try and take them out. And if we play like this, which is the only thing that we have been doing, just playing games, which has just been like, okay, one of us is good, another one of us is bad. There's no synergy. There's no nothing. It's just us beating bad teams that we've been giving them chances to beat us on a repeated basis, and we can't keep doing this. But we won today, so
exactly. I mean, between Charlton conceding in the 90th minute for the last 3 weeks and this Eagles team, I'm amazed my hairline still exists. Like, it's very thin. Man, it's getting bad.
Man, you have no idea. I was in the mall going insane today. Like, just, oh my goodness. We just let Dwayne Haskins come in here, throw 2 nice TDs, and let Adrian Peterson have another resurgence. Like, he's always playing us good every time. We can't stop this old man. Like, we can't. No one can stop him. He's just.
I just imagining, like, in 20 years' time, Jason Peters and Adrian Peterson will just, like, roll out in little, like, kind of be wheeled out by people from the care home onto the field ahead of their game. You know, it will be their 80th, time they've played each other in their career. And they'll go off for another 120 yards for AP, and Jason Peters will have another penalty. But he'll play every snap with a walking frame, and he'll just be there, like, coming out of his kickback with the frame on. So, I don't know. Give it time. I'm sure it'll happen. But honestly, man, thank you so much for coming on to the show again. I love hearing your thoughts after the game. The fact that you've now got a staple of always being happy and then going off on everyone is like the best thing. So where can people like follow you, interact with you, and just get some more J Fizzle in their life? Because everyone needs it. Let's be honest.
Oh man, like I said, I always love coming on. I love chopping it up with you. I'm always in the Discord, just having conversations with people. I love talking to you guys. Also, the Twitter is j.rel. So go ahead, find me on Twitter, and we'll talk and try to get through this season.
Have some group therapy.
I don't know. It is literally testing my football IQ of how we keep pulling these things. It's ridiculous.
All right, man. Well, listen, enjoy the rest of your
Sunday,
evening.
brother.
You too. Thank you for coming on the show as always, man, and try and enjoy this win as best as you can. All right.
We'll see what happens. All right, brother.
Awesome stuff. Always fun to have Jay Fizzle. We're going to have Jordy Fighter on in just a minute, guys. If you do want to join the Discord server and talk it up for a bit, do you know what? I promised myself I was going to do another 100-minute stream, but I might do it. We'll see how we go, all right? We'll see how this is your fate. If you want a 100-minute stream, you tell me. We'll make it happen. I'm probably going to need a few of your supports and opinions to get us through. So, Discord server is there. If you do want to join, have a little chat with me on the show and air some Eagles thoughts that you've got out. Nighty Brandon still in the chat. I'm sorry for ripping Jay Fizzle Dizzle away from you just at the time you're having a talk. Let's just see what we've got. So, AP has to be on some... Yeah, I don't know what AP's doing, but the fact that he is just limping around as an 87-year-old man and still torching everyone, it's not... Well, he's not torching everyone, he's just torching the Eagles, and that's it. Dallas is blowing out the Rams because, of course they are. It was always going to be the Week 16 game, wasn't it? It was always going to be the Week 16 showdown. So I'm sorry, I know I'm probably depriving you all of that Dallas game. So if you'd rather watch that, I'm not going to feel offended. I understand it. But I have my duty as Mr. Philly Sportsnet. Oh, God, that sounded egotistical. As me, just to give you guys the post-game stream. All right, that's my duty this year. I've taken this on. Guardians of Gold is absolutely flourishing right now with the Eagles chant. I would do it, but I don't have the in my voice. I'm like EA, and it sounds a bit. It's gonna hurt your ears if I do it on the stream. All right, so I'll leave that to you guys. But yeah, let's see what you. Also, we've got 30 likes. That's really cool. If you've not liked the stream yet, if you could leave a little thumbs up on it, that'd be amazing. Again, it's the best way to support the stream individually. If you enjoy this little discussion, if you want to come on the stream, there is a Discord link. And obviously, if you're not subscribed yet, that would be absolutely fantastic to have you a part of this community. Like, that's the one thing. I know I'm rarely ever in the Discord because I'm always kind of super busy and flying around and doing a million things at once. But I try to pop in and say hello every now and again. Sometimes I'll post a little meme or something. Ducknwin says, have I ever twisted my ankle and retwisted it? I know that wasn't at me, but my answer is no. I've not had any injury, touch wood, so far. Chris Tiller's joining the chat, so we'll get him on very soon. I know we've got Jordy coming up in just a little bit. I feel like I'm putting on a festival for Eagles fans. 2 more likes off that, thank you. Oh, you guys are the best. I'm going to end up crying again, and I promise I'm trying not to and get too soppy about it. But again, if you can hit that subscribe, with that close to 15,000 subscribers, which was our end of year goal, we've got like about 16 days left to do it, and we need, I think, like 130-ish. So if you want to be a part of that, I will salute you in a very non-embarrassing way. Let's see what else we're saying after this game. Peterson stopped using Sproles, catch out in the backfield and in screens, used him as a 3-down back and ruined poor Sproles' little body. As long as he doesn't do it to Boston Scott, then I don't mind. I'm happy with that. Let's bring in Jordy Fighter 141. Is he in here? Jordy, hello. How are you? Is there a microphone? We don't know. See, I've got it. Oh, he's here. There he is. How you doing, man? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Awesome. How are you feeling after the win?
A little bit good, a little bit bad.
Yeah. All right. What's on your mind? Let's poke your brain. What's on your mind?
This defense really could have stepped up, especially in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, in the fourth quarter, like, they got a little bit of steam behind them. They seemed to pick up exactly somehow when they were needed most, but I think scoring a touchdown, then immediately allowing big returns, and then suffering just a flurry of bad plays and allowing Haskins to march his way down the field wasn't a good look. So, yeah, absolutely, the defense has got to be better. I mean, what about the offense? Anyone that stand out for you on there?
Sanders with his 122-yard rush.
Yeah, no, he had an absolutely brilliant game, yeah. I mean, would you say this is his best game you've seen him have as an Eagle?
I think if he's utilized right, he couldn't have a better game. But knowing how this team's done over the year, he probably won't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, bearing in mind, he's not going to get any. The only time he's going to have a bigger game now, realistically, is going to be the Giants. Like, I don't think he's going to go off to that extent against the Dallas Cowboys. But it was a really big performance. And I think regardless of whether Dallas win or not tonight, which it looks like they're going to because the Rams are just ramming it, apparently, it at least gives the Eagles like some confidence. Like, I would much rather go into that game with like a 2-win streak than a 2-loss streak and Dallas losing one, you know?
Yeah.
And
but if that Dallas loss would have happened tonight, it's probably not going to happen. We wouldn't have to beat them. We'd only have to beat the Giants.
True, but then I think, as horrible as it is to say, that this team and complacency aren't exactly best friends. And if they know they have to win that game and they have to beat the Giants and it's all on the line, then I think there's more chance of them doing it than kind of going, it doesn't matter, we can beat this team. And then all of a sudden you've got a must-win game against an awful Giants team who ran you to overtime not too long ago. And that's not a situation that mentally I think you want to be knowing that there's that creeping doubt in the back of your mind that we barely beat the Giants, we lost to the Dolphins, barely beat the Redskins. Like, I think going in there knowing that you have to beat the Dallas Cowboys, it gives you that sense of urgency. I think they know this is like the biggest matchup of the year without a shadow of a doubt. I think it's going to probably, if anything, benefit them.
Yeah, but it depends on if it benefits them enough to win.
Yeah, that's the thing. And, I think a lot of it's going to come down to how Dallas play on the day. But if it's easy to forget, it will be a home game. It's going to be probably a little bit rainy, windy, dark, screaming Eagles fans everywhere. It will be hostile for Dak. Like, it's not in a dome, so you've got that working for him. Like, I can see this being an Eagles win. I don't want to shout too prematurely or, give any wrongful expectations, but I definitely think that the Eagles have all the wind in their sails in the right direction.
Yeah. And this defense, most of it is on if the defense can hold up.
Yeah, that's going to be the big if, isn't it? As to whether or not the defense can actually hold their end of the bargain, which they haven't in recent weeks. So, I think I asked you this last week as well. If there's one change you could make between now and next week, what would it be?
Honestly, it would be a little bit scheme related.
Yeah.
Change how you're playing your wide receivers, play more wide receiver sets with you just brought in a new wide receiver, and stop playing more of 3 tight end like they did today because it's a little bit predictable.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think against, a better team, or as soon as it becomes a bit more consistent, which it's bound to now, you're going to see that pattern a lot more. And it's technically a bit easier to stomp out if they don't scheme it right with rollouts and sprint outs and stuff, which there seemed to be less of today. There was a lot more Carson Wentz standing in the pocket than we've seen in recent weeks. Whether they thought they could get away with that against the Redskins or they just wanted to try some different things with wide receivers, I don't know. But the fact it then took, 3 quarters for wide receivers to have a catch, and the only wide receiver to have a catch all game was Greg Ward Jr., I don't know. That's a weird one. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that's a good observation.
Yeah, and the defense, now, one play that really stands out is McLeod with his 7 total tackles. Yeah,
McLeod, I think, has been, long one of the underrated players on the defense. Like, he's not the most consistent. Like, he will give up a few mental errors, I think, and we've seen that throughout the season. But, I did a film room on him. I think I've done 2 film rooms on him now this year. And I've been nothing but impressed with what I've seen of him. And I think his IQ and his awareness there was one play last week. It was either against the Giants or the Dolphins in the end zone where he just sprints off his assignment across the end zone to break it up. He's so instinctive, and I think he should absolutely be brought back next year.
Yeah, and he's one of the top 3 in tackles on this team right now with Jenkins and Gary.
See, Nate Gary leading tackle. Who'd have thought Nate Gary would be that high up the tackles list? Because, he had a wild card game today, right? That was a good play 1 minute and then a bad one the next. So that's always going to be... It'll be a fun off-season discussion, won't it, to see, I think, how prominent Gary's role is going to be next year. But, I think we can all agree that he's done okay, given the role that he's in.
Yeah, and he was coming in this year, and people expect him to be bad, and he's actually probably been the best that this linebacker core has had for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't help. I think, Cammy was out for injury for a while. TJ Edwards went undrafted. But I think we can all, he's been a pleasant surprise. I mean, he still has struggles, especially against play action and just shooting his load a bit prematurely, for lack of a less gruesome term. But I think that overall, it's hard to be disappointed with. It could have been a lot worse, put it that way. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, and he's had a lot of improvement from last year, and he got more snaps because his first year he only had, I want to say, under 50 snaps.
Yeah. I mean, he's seen a lot more playing time this year, and that's, again, it's something where I don't think anyone expected to see from Nate Gary this year. So we'll see if that continues into 2020 or not. But as of right now, he's done all right. I think he can get a pass on the old grading card. He's not going to be shouted at, I don't think, after this game. He held his own.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. All right. What are you going to say?
And the defensive line didn't show too much pressure this week, and it shows in the sack numbers because there's none.
Yeah, and that's worrying. I mean, for me, like I said earlier in the game, that I think that Dwayne Haskins played this game how Eli Manning should have played last week against the Eagles. Like 3-step drops, ball out quick, and quick reads. You don't want it in your hands too long. Just don't let that pass rush get home and allow your receivers to really reap the rewards against a bad secondary. And it blows my mind that Eli Manning didn't do that, given that he used to do it before. But yeah, I'm not sure if it was like a lack of pressure or if it was just Dwayne Haskins. There were a couple plays they got to him, and Haskins was able to turn a dead play into either a very minimal loss or a minimal gain, or even like a much better play. So a little bit of that has got to be accredited to Haskins, but I think just the Redskins' game planning was probably just, they accounted for it, which I don't think they did in week 1. I don't think the Giants did last week. But this is the first team in a while that has actually accounted for the fact that the Eagles are going to get to you. They're going to throw the kitchen sink. And they tried to get the ball out much quicker. And it scarily worked for the most part.
And it definitely shows that it worked because there's only 3 tackles for a loss and there were 0 QB hits.
Yeah, they just couldn't get home all day long. So just looking through the window a bit, but couldn't knock on the door and bring it in.
Yeah, and like I couldn't watch it because I'm in New York, so I had to listen to it on the radio. And at one point, they brought up that Fletcher Cox was quiet this week.
Yeah, but I mean,
worried me.
But Fletcher Cox has been quiet all season, really, in terms of like production wise and stuff, and he has been for maybe even beyond that. Like, it's been a while since he's gone out and had like a 10-sack season, or just, well, obviously last year was a career year, but he's had like a dominant streak in the past. But whether it's just a lack of help next to him or it's just teams trying to scheme away, like it's the same sort of thing with some of the other defensive tackles in this league, that when you're that dangerous and your name carries that much weight and identity, that like you just kind of get accounted for and you get lost. But his impact that he makes in terms of actually getting push and allowing the defensive ends to thrive, I think it's still as valuable as it ever has been, if not probably a bit more so because he can't get home. So like he may have been quiet, but I don't think he was necessarily playing bad. He was just again, without looking at the tape, I can't really make a judgment on how good or bad he was. But if it's anything like the last few weeks, he's just more than anything battling double teams, trying to swallow up offensive linemen and just push his way in and collapse the pocket for the edge rushers. So I'm not going to be too worried about Fletcher Cox. Like, the guy is an elite talent. He's not going anywhere. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yeah, and I forgot who I was talking to one day, but I was talking about if Malik Jackson never got injured, it would have been you'd either double 1 or 2 and you pick your poison.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, 100%. And Jackson, for me, was one of, I'd say, the most underrated defensive signings. Like, he was absolutely monstrous, like, on film from what we saw, from his time with the Jaguars and stuff. And it sucked to see him get injured so early, because I did think that there was going to be a real chance of a breakout, or to actually get someone that can line up outside or line up inside, like have that 3 and 5 tech versatility, and more importantly, just take some weight off the shoulders of Fletcher Cox. And unfortunately, it's not happened. So hopefully next year we see it and the pass rush is almost reinvigorated again, and we see some newfound interior force. But I'd agree. It's been a disappointment to see Malik Jackson's season end so prematurely, and you can only wonder what impact he would have made if he was on the field.
Yeah, and if if he was here, it definitely would have been different for the ends too, because the ends would also thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'd see definite boosted sort of sack numbers for those guys as well. So, Jordy, thank you for coming on. Before we let you go, one bold prediction between now and next week. Whether it be a call-up or a result, what are you thinking? What's in your mind?
Honestly, I can't make one.
Ooh,
I really can't.
We've stumped him. That's okay. That's all right. No worries. All right. What about prediction for next week against the Cowboys? We'll go with that. We'll let you off.
I think the corners still going to blow coverages. The defense won't be so great altogether, and the offense is going to pull this team.
All right, there we go. You've heard it here. See, if that happens now, you can then march into next week's live stream with your WWE title belt on, spinning it, looking like the man. So we hope that happens for you, Jordy. Thank you for coming on. If anyone wants to follow you on Twitter or interact with you, how can they grab a hold of you?
They can find me on Twitter at the same name as my YouTube. I also started to post back on YouTube again, and I'm in the Discord.
Beautiful stuff. Thanks for coming on, Jordy. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
There we go. Look at that. So we've had 3 guests today. Guys, can't even talk now. If you do want to come on the show, the link is right there. I'm going to say there. I know it's a bit premature. It's in the chat now on the right-hand side. You can come in, talk to me, talk about the Eagles. We're on 36 likes. All right, if we can get to 40. If we get to 50... that'll be phenomenal. I don't think we will, though. I think we don't have enough viewers to make the numbers add up. But if you can prove me wrong, we'll get to 50. Maybe I'll give you another LJ Love Life story, considering how bad the fridge story went down. So we'll see. If we get to 50 likes, all right, that's the aim. And you can have a nice little LJ story about the fridge and women. And if you've not heard that story, that sounds severely out of context now. But let's see how the Cowboys are getting on, actually. Because obviously I'm not watching the game. I'm here talking to you lot. Cowboys, let's see. Don't be bad. 28. Oh, okay. I mean, you can bet a Rams backdoor cover then, right? That's not bad. All right, okay, it is because they've got the ball at 37. But ignore that. It's possible. The Rams is rolling over for the Cowboys like dogs in heat. Oh, I hate dogs rolling over in heat. Don't use that dog. No, it's really sad. I know there's been a lot of chatter about the Eagles injury stuff, mainly between Duck and Anti-Sema. I would say, Don't panic too much. Oh, we're on 40 likes. Okay, we're 10 away from another LJ Love Life story. I'm going to make a book of this. I was thinking the other day, I might just actually make a novel of the bad things that have happened with me and females. But on another note, like with the Eagles medical staff, it's hard to say because bear in mind, I know there's a lot of accountability on, right, who's releasing the injury report? Is it the medical staff? Is it the coaching staff? Is it the front office? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, the best thing I can probably say right now is let's not forget that Camu Grugier-Hill lied about a concussion and played through a game and got shouted at. We don't know what his immediate future. Don't know what his immediate future is, whether he's going to have a place on the team or not. If they're going to discipline him with maybe a wage cut, or I don't know. But either way, if that's one player lying to coaching staff about a concussion, saying that he's okay, you dread to think what would happen. Jordan Howard-Stinger, Deshaun Jackson not having surgery. There are so many, Jalen Mills, like so many players where the injury has been almost not misadvertised, but misrepresented is probably the better word, and been shown as, it's day to day, it's week to week, and then it ends up being like year to year. A lot of it, I think it is on players. It's a pride thing. Like they don't want to admit they're hurt. They don't want to go out there and let their teammates down. They don't want to be disappointed. They don't want someone else to take their role. So I fully understand why players will make that decision. But we don't know what's going on in those discussions. All right, we don't know what the medical staff are saying, what they're advised to do. We don't know what that the players are saying, what the coaching staff are saying. It's very difficult to say. So LJ's Love Life like novella, not what to do, title taken care of. When is the last time I watched Any Given Sunday? Do you know what? I don't think I actually watched it. I started to. I got through it on a Netflix and chill, and Netflix and chill happened. Sorry. All right, I'll have to make up for it. No chance of happening now. All right, I can go back and finish it now. James Woods has a great speech in it. All right, I'll check it out, and I'll bring you up next stream. How about that? I'll try and find some time to relax a little bit this week, and I'll let you know about that speech. I understand nobody ever plays 100%. This guy's saying the medical staff should have kept him out until he was Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, on one hand, you've got Doug Peterson saying Sidney Jones should play through his injury and be a man about it, and then Malcolm Jenkins calling him out, and then you've got... there's a whole different conversation you can have. But they've already changed the medical staff like twice in 2 years, as far as I'm aware. So, like, it's truly difficult, isn't it? Like, to have... like, it's unfair for anyone to really judge it without saying, hey... like, we know what's going on. Like, I can sit here and say, oh, quarterback coaching's bad, but I don't know what's going on in that locker room, in that film room, on the practice field every day. So we can only assume from what we know, which is why, like, you know, my takes aren't ever scolding hot like some of the other beat writers out there, why my articles aren't, you know, as cold takery or as sharp or as edgy. Like, I don't want to be uneducated. At the end of the day, we've got 14.8 thousand of you here on this YouTube channel, all right? That's incredible. I would be doing you all a massive disservice if I started saying, yeah, fire that guy, he's awful. Turns out that guy is the best at his job. And we just don't know how he does it, and it's someone else's responsibility. So, like, I just feel that responsibility to not give you misleading information or to give uneducated opinions and stuff. So, like, that's probably what I try and stay on the safe side with things. Hi, says, what up, Liam? So, hi. Great win for us today. Young guys getting experience and building confidence. Absolutely. And it couldn't come at a better time. Knowing that the Cowboys are picking up momentum against the Rams and they're going to have to dig themselves out now. To go into that Dallas game knowing you've got Greg Ward, knowing that you've got Boston Scott looking good. Dallas Goedert starting to flash a little bit with a great catch as well. Like, don't know what more you could want. Like, that's a really good positive thing to have. All news comes to the Eagles, obviously, and play it. Oh, Chris, okay, if you're in the... where are you, man? Right, Chris, what's your name on Discord? I'll sort you out. Where are you? If you tell me your name on the Discord server, and I will drag you down where everyone's having a nice little chat. G Danza 8 says Greg Ward Jr. is a beast, and I completely agree. Ward looked good and steady. He did. I think we can talk... what sort of film room would you guys want this week? I don't think I've ever asked you in a live chat before. What film room, off the bat, off just an initial reaction, would you want to see? Do you want Greg Ward Jr.? Do you want... what else can we do? I don't want to do the secondary again. I feel like I spend so much of my time scolding the secondary. Would Greg Ward Jr. be a good film room? Would you want that? Look at all 6 of the catches, some of the route running, like how is he getting off the line, how is he in the stem, how is his ball tracking, like I can look at all that stuff. Here's something good, if I can find it on my phone. I don't know if I'm going to find this. I might have deleted it, I don't know, or it might be on my old phone. Give me 2 seconds. I want to try to find something that's really handy that will help you guys, like, not scout wide receivers, but like evaluate them as well. So let's have a look. So someone said Boston Scott. Hey, we did Boston Scott last week. You can go and see that one. That's on the channel. We did that one. Receiver. Let's have a look. Oh, I don't think I've got any. Damn it. Oh, we do. There we go. Right. Okay. So in 2018, in November, someone made me. Well, not made me. I was talking to basically an area scout in the NFL. And I asked him what he looks for in wide receivers, and these are the things he told me. So, if you want to make a note of them when you watch wide receivers, like I feel most confident looking at wide receivers and corners because I know the most about the position, because I know what I'm looking for, right? So, an ability to get off the line, the stem, which is can you stay? If you got off the line well, just before you make your break and in the middle of the break, are you going to get knocked off contact? Is someone going to budge you out the way? Are you going to have to kind of reroute yourself or anything like that? That's what the stem is. So the middle part of the route, can you either maintain separation or gain leverage or avoid being thrown off it completely? Can you put your foot in the ground and separate and work into a catchable zone? The catch radius, the tracking, yards after the catch, adjusting on extended plays, can you capitalize on mismatch, and effort through the stem. So all those things, right? Make a note of them. Go and look at the Eagles receivers. And you too, I've just created competition. You're all going to overtake me now. There's going to be a million Eagles film room stuff now. Oh, what have I done that for? See? Look, I'm just trying to help you all out. Hey, Liam, can I get one shout out for the entire Tiller family? Oh, I don't know. Of course you can. Shout out the entire Tiller family. All right, thank you for watching this stream. That's amazing. That blows. If you're all right, if there was a whole family sat there watching this on television, I will cry. Like that's mad. The entire Tiller family, real MVPs. Thank you for taking time out of your busy evening to watch this Eagles stream. Did the receiver even get a... No, he didn't. I don't think he did. He ran a few routes. I didn't see him get a target. I know we had Brandon come in earlier on and said that he run like some really good blocking reps. Arthega Whiteside, what do you think about him? Says Monkey Mind Bananas. No production today. What happened? He wasn't targeted. Again, like it's really hard to say without looking at the film and saying, it's because of this or that. It might just be he wasn't getting open. It might just be he wasn't in like the route progression for Carson Wentz and the read progression. Or that they were just scheming exclusively to the tight ends and running backs. I don't know. But the fact that Greg Ward Jr. came alive so surprisingly so late is a little bit worrying. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll have a look back at it. But let's see. Do Miles Sanders. There's been a few Boston Scott and Miles Sanders. Another Goddard. Okay, right. That could be interesting. I think I'd love to do one on every player at the end of the year. Go and watch all of their tapes. But it would be the biggest task ever. Like watching 16 games of a player 53 times. That's tough. So, I don't know. We'll see. If you guys can convince me to do it, we'll see. We'll see. We're 7 likes away from the 50, which would be my goal of me. I don't know why I incentivized me embarrassing my love life to get it on a stream, but, here we are. Also, what was I going to say? Oh, we're at 80 minutes. If we get to 50, I'll do 100 minutes again. I don't know why I do this to myself. Also, right, bone to pick with you lot. Last time, alright, so you don't know this. So, last week's stream, hands up if you were in last week's stream. Just me on that one. I'm expecting full-on hands up. I'm expecting all of you to put an arm in the air now if you were here. You don't realise, so I was travelling back that day from Manchester to where I live in Devon, which was like a 9-hour coach journey. I get home at 9:30 in the evening. The game's on at 1 a.m. Tried to have a nap before the game, didn't work. Ran to my office, had a Red Bull, okay? And then I didn't sleep all the coach journey. So I was up, 9 hours, come back, have a Red Bull through the night, then do a 100-minute post-game stream. I got back to my house at because when the game finishes, I have to write a recap, prep the stream, do the stream, post-stream stuff, go home. By the time I got home, it was legitimately 8:30 in the morning, and I woke up at 6 in the evening, and I broke my body clock completely. So, you guys broke me, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So thank you very, very much. Because like I said, I'll give everything I've got to you, because I know you guys do the same for me. You should hit up the young players. I would. I've done it before. I've had a few interviews and stuff. It's a weird one, though, because I know a lot of the time you have to go through the Eagles for interviews and stuff. Carson should hire his own guy to work with. I know he did that in 2017. He went to... I'm trying to think of the name of it now. It was the same one that Tom Brady uses. I think Matt Ryan's used them as well. You can find it online, and I actually reached out to the quarterback coach to see if he wanted to do an interview, and he didn't respond, so his loss. David Thorne, how are you doing, man? Thanks for coming on. Eagles should sign Antonio Brown. Oh, God, let's not please go down that route. Right, put it this way. Antonio Brown has got more drama with women than he's got on the football field right now, and that is saying something. Right, let's just take for a second, right? Antonio Brown put out the most eloquent Instagram statement I've ever seen. It was one has pondered one's actions and one is very regretful of one's despicable acts, right? And then a week later he's just tweeting absolute nonsense about taking small problems and big problems, and honestly, you can just tell the Instagram post was definitely not made by him. So he's got a bit more to worry about right now. And while he may be one of the most talented receivers of a generation, he's also one of the most troubled. And my stance on him has always been the same, that he should absolutely just go and get help. I think he's surrounded by the wrong people. Again, I don't know him. I can't say I can vouch for all his friends and stuff. But knowing Drew Rosenhaus and how he's one of the most influential agents in the league, and all of those videos he put out, and Rosenhaus yeah, man, you're the best receiver in the whole world. The whole wide world, AB, buddy. Buddy, old pal. Buddy, my friend. Line my pockets. It's disgusting. And his ego's been inflated so much to a point where if he is battling with... To me, as someone that has had friends who've battled with bipolar and stuff, it looks very bipolar-ish to me. It looks a little bit like they're a mental health, but I don't want to speculate because it's rude to and it's unfair. But I think there is clearly some mental health stuff going on. He needs some help, some people around him who can just take him out of toxic situations, get him some support, get his head right, and then look at a 2020 return. That's a totally different thing. It's not fair to drag him back into a team. I genuinely think he just has a lot going on mentally right now. And he needs some support, which is hopefully can be taken in the right way. Let's see if any of you guys still want to chat it up in the Discord. Do let me know. I know there's a few of you still on at the minute. All you're going to do is join. There is a chat room called where is it? Waiting Rooms. It's under the videos section called Waiting Room. If you join on that, I can drag you down. We can have a little chat, and then we will end the stream in beautiful fashion. Also, we are 7 likes away from our 50 like target. If you can help us reach that and you've just joined, that'd be amazing. Instead of that little grey thumb, turn it blue. Alright, because blue is a good colour and it's close to green, and green is the colour of the Eagles. So that's there you are. It's showing signs of, I don't know, like the AB situation is definitely a tricky one. I don't know. I mean, like, Tio, there is a lot of similarities between him and Tio. I don't think they're comparable. I think Terrell Owens was very egotistical and narcissistic. I think Terrell Owens was all about Terrell Owens. I think Antonio Brown just thinks... I don't know. I don't want to speculate the difference, but for me, Terrell Owens was a diva receiver. He set that standard. Antonio Brown isn't a diva receiver. He's just genuinely someone that's got a lot of problems going on right now. But yeah, I think that's what I mean. I've spoken to people that have played with Terrell Owens, and I've spoken with people that have... I'd say their egos are arguably on the same page. Like, at some point, you've got to have that level of ego to be that good at what you do, right? Like, you're the best in the world at what you do. You're going to have an ego about you one way or the other. So, like, it's really hard to speculate on. I don't think Terrell Owens was suddenly a Jordan Matthews type locker room guy, but in comparison to what you see from Antonio Brown, where he forces his way out of Pittsburgh, forces his way out of Oakland, gets kicked out of New England. Like, if the Patriots cut ways with you, probably a sign you're not doing too good, is it? Mike says, hey Liam, no love for Big B. Big V, he had a decent game. I've given love to Big V. I said he was alright earlier. I said he's done alright today. I'd love to do a Big V film room. Like, I think that, you know, it's no easy task coming up against a team where, bearing in mind, I said earlier on, like, raise your hand if you remember the debut. He played against Ryan Kerrigan and was absolutely bullied. Every time he's played the Redskins since, he's been absolutely bullied. And now he held his own, and at right tackle, like, he is a serviceable right tackle. With regards to McNabb, I'm just not going to talk on it. Like, I think that guy's exactly the same. Like, I don't know. I think McNabb is just a case of envy and jealousy not ending the right way. Like, I'm not. Jordy Fighter subscribed. Jordy, what do you mean you weren't subscribed? That must be a second channel, Sunshine. I won't be happy with you otherwise. I think that's a second channel. Let's see what we've got. We are one like away, right? From our like goal of 50. And I said that I would give you a love life story to end this show when I get there. And again, if any of you guys do want to talk in the Discord, there is a link you can join. Let's have a look. I think, what story could I say? Oh, there's so many. There are so many bad ones. Okay, now I've got one. It's alright, I've got one. We can work with this when we hit 50. Oh, it's his second channel. I appreciate you, Jordy. Thank you so much, man. I love how this chat has descended into... This is what happens when you talk for Eagles, like, you know, 88 minutes solid after a win. Oh, God, it's not gone well, has it? I mean, let's talk, you know, positives from this game, though, to summarise up blissfully. Carson Wentz was good, but needs to stop fumbling the ball. Miles Sanders is a real deal. We've had 50! Lone Revolver 1! I appreciate you. You are the MVP. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that, man. Right, so, awful LJ love story time. Here we go. I would have been 21, 22, I think, right? 21, 22. I was shopping, that's why I got you, right? So, basically, I went on a Tinder date. I know, shocking, right? I mean, it didn't go well for anyone that is like, oh, should we go on Tinder? Should we have a look to Tinder dates work? And obviously, you know, if you see a girl on Tinder and you're talking, you haven't seen them in real life. So if you see them walking towards you, you're like, or do we walk up to them? Is it awkward? Do I wait for them to come to me? Do I play it off like I'm on my phone and go, oh, hey, right? And I was like, do you know what? I'll tell her that her hair looks nice, okay? I went up to her. She was much fitter in person than I anticipated. And I just went, is that your hair? And she went, what? And I was like, it looks nice. And I just went up to a girl and went, is that your hair? Is that your hair? First thing you say to a girl on a date, is that your hair? We then go into a restaurant. And I had never taken a girl to dinner before. And I didn't understand how restaurants were. I assumed if I go into a restaurant and I stand at the door, clearly with a girl, clearly there are two of us, the waitress will come up to me and go, there is clearly a pair of you. You clearly want a table for two. Therefore, I will take you to two, a nice little corner, a nice little romantic corner. Instead, the waitress goes, hiya, and I go, hi. Nothing for about 20 seconds. Just an awkward stare down of, well, are you going to take us? Or, I mean, what do I do now? Like, you've got eyes. Use them. There's clearly two of us, right? So this girl that I've already insulted her goes, oh, can I have a table for two, please? And then we sit down, and the rest of the date was a shambles. So I hope that was worth it. I hope that was worth your 50 likes, because it wasn't for me. It was a tragic experience, and one that I do think will be written in a book one day. It was that bad. Chris says, is the live viewable when it's done? I want to show my wife this show. Oh, dude, of course it is. Yeah, like it normally takes a few hours to process, but it should be on the channel just after that. So, like, normally, like, I want to say 3-4 hours away, it'll come back on live again. So, it'll be there. Don't you worry. It doesn't matter what you do, Liam. Just do it with confidence. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm fine. The thing is, right, I'm fine until, if I find a girl attractive, I'm alright. It's when I know it's mutual, I crumble. Right, like if I look at a girl, I'm like, oh, she's fit. Okay, I got this. Hello, I can chat her up. Fine, no, I can chirp. It's not a problem. If I know predetermined that she thinks I'm fit or she's attracted to me, I'm like, oh no, and I have a bit of a meltdown. So we'll work on that. Maybe there should be a second channel with my love life stories. Well, there is. It's called the Outside Insider Podcast. If you don't listen to it already, Jay Wade says, I hope we draft a cornerback or a wide receiver. Yeah. I would say that they should have at least one of each position. I don't know whether or not they're going to do that successfully in the first round or second round, because every year it's like, do you remember the year they should have drafted a running back and then they let Dalvin Cook go and then that went well. And then it's like, oh, but they can get this guy and then that went well. And then, oh, Sidney Jones. Like, I don't know. I think at this stage, after the J.J. Arcega-Whiteside thing, it is still way too early to call him a bust. But there has to be some sort of level of expectation here. And that level is, you're a first-round pick, and you've got Terry McLaurin putting up 137 yards on the other team, who was picked like 4 rounds later. So there has to be, and a receiving class this deep, don't play safe, don't play tactically, don't go and get some, not stupid, some very talented 5th receiver in the 6th round who won't make an impact, all right? Just go out and get the best there is at that position in the 1st round. It's that simple at this stage. You've built the trenches, you've got right tackle, right guard, centre, left guard, left tackle for the next three years max minimum, I'd think, right? Defensively, you got the trenches solidified. Linebacker could use a bit of help. Cornerback, you could get away with. It's not the end of the world. Safety, you can just bring back Jenkins and McLeod. That's okay. Wide receiver, you need help. So get every asset you've got and get the best receiver you can. It's that simple. If it's Henry Ruggs, brilliant. If it's one of the other ones, fine. But you don't let it slip to the 4th or 5th round, as they did at safety this year. Right, if you remember, there was safety slipping all the way through day 2 of the NFL draft, and it just went absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. Doug says, I used to have a different issue. If I wasn't interested, I would always score. The second I was interested, I fumbled like Haskins. That's how most people are. That's why he's afraid to succeed. Do you mean me or Haskins? I don't know. That's interesting, though. I should definitely have some awful relationship podcast. It would go down a treat. The second I was interested... No, I don't know. I'm fine. I mean, I went on a date, like, is a bonus one for you because you had 53 likes instead of 50. I went on one, like, 2 months ago, and the chat was so dead. Like, she just didn't talk. And I couldn't tell if it was me or her. And it got to the point where, to me, to even generate conversation, I was like, what's your favourite sound in the world? And she was like, what? And I was like, what's your favourite sound? And pick one sound to hear for the rest of your life. What is it? And to me, that's like a genuinely good question. And she got annoyed about it. Which, to me, right, was, key in the door, turn. There has to be a PVC door. All right, wood doors don't do it. PVC doors, when it goes, great sound. That or rain. I'm being absolutely rubbish. This is a bad idea. Jared says, yes, thank you. We always do that. Yeah. Just there's no need to play it safe. There's no need to play it tactically. Just go out, get the best, flashiest supercar you've got. You've got the nice house. You've got the garage. You've got the family. You've got the nice job. Just go and get a nice bloody supercar. Like, there's one looking at you, it's offering, don't worry about saving money and getting a new lamp or a new television when you've got one. Go and get a supercar. Go and get Ruggs. Go and get one of the elite receivers from this year's draft. Just pray they don't turn out to be a bust. That would be the thought that I leave that one on for sure. So we got, do you know what? We can go to 100. We've done 94. What is 6 more minutes when you've done 94, eh? That is the question. So we'll go with that. It says, anything else you want to know? Instead of sound, it should have been a song or something you could have learned about her. Yeah. I mean, I've been through that, though. She was one of those like yes-no people where you'd say that, who's your favourite band? Or like, so you watch this? And I'll go, yeah. And I'm like, right, brilliant. Okay, that was about as exciting as the Eagles defense. Brilliant. Thanks, guys. That's brilliant. So I don't know. There's a lot of stories we can go into with that. But you know, there's a whole array of podcasts you can listen to in the Outside Insider where every analogy is about the same bloody girl anyway. So I'm sure we can just focus on that. But let's just check Discord, make sure no one's in the waiting room. They're not. If you do want to join the Discord, now we've got over 100 of you. Again, I will put another link in just a second. Basically, if you don't know what it is, it's a free app. You can talk to all of us at Philly Sports Networks. All of our writers are in there. You've got me. I'm very sporadic. Like sometimes I go in there. You should have just asked for the shit. Hey, I did the D with that one, all right? I worked it. It was fine. Just took a bit more groundwork from me. I had to kind of Russell Westbrook that one. Yeah, I had to like LeBron it a bit. Liam, what's the sleep schedule? Because this. Oh no, dude, I'm sorry. Oh no. Oh, I didn't mean to make you lose your schedule. I would be the worst person to ask what a sleep schedule is because I go to bed at like 8 in the morning and wake up at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon and then work until about 2 a.m. So I really wouldn't be the person to ask that for you, mate. And she's yes and no, she wants to go, but oh, don't say that. Oh, I can't go back to my place. I'm still living with family at the minute. I'm trying to move out and get a spot, but even that's a bit. See, this has become an LJ Q&A at this point. We are going to ask some Christmas stuff as well. Like, I want to do this. Like, I'm sure many of you know. Like, if you subscribe to the channel, I have This Week in Philadelphia Sports, which is like my favourite thing ever. Not apart from this. Like, this is this and This Week in Philadelphia Sports because I can just be me and have lots of jokes and more importantly, interact with you guys. Outside of that, like, I think that's my favourite thing to do. So I want to do This Year in Philadelphia Sports. And that'll be cool. Like, there's some other Christmassy things I want to have planned and like some cool content. So if you're new to the channel, again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Jay Ski. Jay, were you the person that emailed me asking if I ski? Because if you were, fair play. If not, you're going to be like, what? And I'll be like, oh, sorry. But did I see hope in that win? I don't know. Yes, I'm going to go with. Like, yes on offense, no one did. It was like hope with... you have an office now, put up a couch. Yeah, I could. They've never actually come in. I've got a pizza chair. Do you want to see the pizza chair? I don't think this is going to work. Hang on. Do you want to see the pizza chair? Look at that little chair in the corner. That's a pizza. It's a triangle chair, that. I don't know why I did that. Sixers losing 28-23. That's not good. Oh, God. My MacBook screen is just kind of... No, it's flashing. I think I need a new Mac. This ain't good. The Monday night stream killed... Yeah, did I see hope in that win? I did for offense. Not for defense. I think it was more hope with an overwhelming sense of I'm going to lose it all soon. For lack of a better analogy, basically my entire love life again. Like, this is going really well, but I know it's going to crumble soon. Like, the offense was great, and the defense, there's a lot of reason for concern there, and that is a terrifying prospect because it's just not getting any better now. This decade in Philadelphia sports, says Theo, I would love to. It could be difficult. That's a heavy video. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll do both. We'll see. But I want to try and bring out like as much Christmas. Like I said, we're doing videos every day. This is like day 20 of daily content. I normally write like 2 articles a day and then this. And obviously run the site and talk to everyone and keep them, all that stuff. But like, I try and do a video a day. This is day 20. It's like 3 weeks worth of daily content. And you're not even tired of it yet, which is mad. So, 2 minutes to go. It's that time to stop again, isn't it? Like, I cried at this point during last week's stream. I promise, I can't make promises, but I'll try not to do that again this time. Genuinely, thank you so much for tuning in. Like, it's mad that there were 36 of you 98 minutes into this stream. Like, that blows my... That's an hour and a half. That's the length of a film. That's half the time of that new film on Netflix everyone goes on about that I haven't seen yet. So the analogy just doesn't work. But it's there. The Irishman. That's it, right? Half the length of that. Genuinely, like, it blows my mind, like, and I will never not be thankful for it. So, to every single one of you that has come on the Discord, so to Jay Fizzle Dizzle, to Brandon, to Jordy Fighter 141, to David, to Duck, to Anti-Semite, to Theo, to, who else we've got, Jay Ski, to Jay Wade, to Brandon again, to Jay, to Jay Fizzle, everyone, basically everyone, Chris Tiller and his family, alright, Chris and his family, Lone Revolver 1 here for the 50th like, Mike B, everyone that's come in, like, I genuinely, it blows my mind every single time that there are that many of you that not only care what I have to say, that are part of this community, that genuinely, like, just love what we do, like, and a part of this, and it's no longer it's me giving content out, it's us creating it together, and it's the best feeling in the world. So just thank you for making my 2019 a roller coaster I'll never forget. Like, I'll get there's a Super Soppy video coming where I will cry, because this year, if you've been around for a while, as I said, I went from working a part-time job that I had for 5 years. Well, I had several part-time jobs, but I made phillysportsnetwork.com in 2015. And this year in April 19th, I was able to make it my full-time job. And that wouldn't be possible without you guys. And now my whole job is talking to you lot about the Eagles and having this community and interacting with you and having fun and a laugh and being myself. And I will never, ever, ever take that for granted. So thank you so much for all of your support, for taking time out of your busy schedules and lives when you've got the hustle and bustle of Christmas and families and relationships and the Cowboys bombing the Rams, like all this stuff going on, and you still take time. Like, I will never not give you everything I've got, because it means everything to me. So just thank you from the bottom of my heart, genuinely, for taking time out of your day to watch this stream, to be a part of this community. If you're not yet subscribed, I hope that soppy speech has convinced you. If not, I'm all out, if I'm honest. There's not much more I can give you. But genuinely, I'll be around tomorrow, this week in Philadelphia sports. I'll try and get some, funny jokes and analogies in there. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Liam Jenkins PSN. Everything else is on there. David, if you meet a girl on Tinder, you should chat up on the phone, text, emails. Yeah, we did. It wasn't an instant meetup. This was even more embarrassing after like a week of grafting. I'm just useless when it comes to females. I think that's the... But, it makes good podcast content and it makes you lot happy. And that's all I could really ask for. So, thank you for helping me just be me, really, and allowing me to do that and enjoying it. And I'm going to cry again. So I'm losing my way with words because I'm starting to get a bit emotional. So, just you guys are truly... Do you know what? Whatever happens in life, okay... And I know life can be tricky, and especially at the holiday season, and not everyone has their families and stuff, or can be with the people they want to be with, or buy the gifts they want to buy, or anything like that. Just know that you've always got a home and a family with Philly Sports Network, all right? In that Discord server, in that live chat, whether you agree with each other or not, with me, on videos, like, wherever, I promise you, it will get better. You've got a little family here. We'll always have your back. And I want to see every single one of you succeed, like, next year. And that's what PSN season's about. It's like, I want you to go into chat and say, hey, LG, I had a job interview today, and I smashed it. And I want to see, hey, I graduate university tomorrow. Hey, I did this college degree. I got this job. I successfully went on a date and didn't LJ it. That's the stuff I want to see, right? And I'll always support you guys in that. So just as much as you support me, I'll always be there for you lot as well. Just thank you for being the best community imaginable. I'm going to go and cry a bit now and pass out. Eagles win. We roll on to Dallas. You've got a week of content coming up. I'll see you soon.